What's up, Fight fans? Brett Okamoto here from the 5 Rounds podcast. On this week's episode, myself and Brian Campbell got into all of the drama between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Is this fight happening? We also talked to TJ Dillashaw and Dwayne Ludwig. Tune in.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Adrienne Lawrence, and here's what you need to know. The Charles Oakley-James Dolan feud may never end. At least Oakley doesn't think it will. The Knicks legend says he has no plan to return to Madison Square Garden, despite Dolan lifting the ban on Oakley after a sit-down with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and Michael Jordan. Last week, Dolan had Oakley arrested and removed from the arena. And the former team doctor for Michigan State and the U.S. gymnastics team will stand trial. Larry Nassar has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct after over 36 women accused him of sexual assault. And Wrestling Hall of Famer George Animal Steele has died. Steele, whose real name is Jim Myers, revealed in 2014 that he was suffering near-fatal bouts with Crohn's disease. He was 79. And less than a week after making history with 100 consecutive wins, UConn coach Gino Auriemma, well, he has a new deal, likely making him the highest-paid coach in women's college ball. Auriemma signed a 5-year contract worth $13 million plus. He's led the Huskies to 11 NCAA titles, including the last 4.
Time to upgrade your wardrobe with CT Shirts, the most exquisitely crafted, British-styled, crease-free shirts I've ever worn. One CT shirt normally costs $100. I got you 3 shirts for just $99. Go to ctshirts.com/ESPN. ctshirts.com/ESPN.
Now, Russillo and Kanell on ESPN Radio.
And ESPNradio.com.
Always happy to have Max Bretos here, especially on a Friday. Puts everybody in a good mood. Want to remind everybody that the All-Star festivities start tonight. Check out the NBA Rising Stars Challenge at 9 Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. So that'll be on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Charles Barkley doesn't like today's game. No way. I can't believe that.
There's a lot of holes in it.
We'll get to that a little bit later. And we're going to talk to someone from the world of MMA because Max is here and he's very plugged into all that
Big
stuff.
fight tomorrow night. Bellator.
Well done.
Matt Mitrione. Meathead.
I was going to tease it.
Was that I jumped the gun?
Yeah, we just gave it away. But that's all right.
Sorry. I'm still learning.
Are they getting Rumble Johnson? No.
Rumble Johnson?
Are they? I'm a big Rumble Johnson fan. I'm looking forward to the rematch.
We need some good fights coming up. I mean, it's been a little bit
You're worried
dry.
about the UFC right now.
I'm a little worried about the UFC. I want to see some big fights. They're going to come, I'm sure, but
okay,
in time.
All right. Just trying to rein it all back in. Because the headliner of all this stuff is Durant Westbrook. What are these two guys going to do? All right? Durant was just with Sage Steele, and she asked him about how they're going to just navigate through this weekend of being teammates for the West.
So are you going to go up and talk to him? Because you've said that maybe I could have done things a little bit differently. I mean, because then it's over with, right? Because he keeps saying that you guys haven't talked.
I don't know. I mean,
you haven't decided yet?
It's not even something I'm thinking about, to be honest.
Okay.
If it happens, I'm not planning anything. If it happens organically, it does, but I'm not planning to do anything. You know, like I said, I'm just coming out here enjoying my weekend. Looking forward to being a part of the festivities as an all-star and all, everything else that falls in line after that, it does. But if it happens, it does. If it doesn't, it's no big deal
so
either.
Organic, you're not going to plan something?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I like that word, organic. Oh, there he is. Hey, Russ, good to see you. Get open. I'm going to pass it to you. Organically. It's going to come very natural.
Can we just do a quick timeout? When you do the show with Max, are the rest of you guys with me on that? We're not quite sure where any, and I don't want to rein you in.
Is that a 20-second timeout?
Yeah. We'll get a quick 20 here. Because what did he do when Woodson was in here when he started doing the Jets?
Oh, yeah. West Side Story between the NFL wide receivers and the defensive backs.
Yeah, Ryan, your guess is as good as mine.
No, I just told you. What, you guys haven't seen West Side Story where they're clicking their fingers?
Yes.
All right.
The Jets and who was it?
The Sharks.
The Sharks, that's right.
There's going to be a fight. Chris Carter, I'm looking at you. I'm coming for you. I don't know why I sound like Dane Joan Edna singing. But you said,
Cerruti?
do I cheer people up on when I come on the show? Because he said that, but it was like really, it didn't seem like we were having a party atmosphere. Cerruti's looked at his computer screen entirely since I walked in. Hasn't spoken to me.
To do. We did a pod before the show. Sound.
Oh, my bad.
Typically when Bretos is in, though, it's wild.
Should we buy ice cream? Do you guys want my credit card next break? You guys go buy
tacos?
Yeah, buy everybody some ice cream.
I love Choco Tacos. They're my favorite.
All right.
I like to have a roast beef sandwich, and then I'll wash it down with a Choco Taco and 3 fingers of whiskey. I'm just trying to bring it up. It's Friday.
Are you down? So I'm down. I'm a downer for you right now because I'm trying to do like the Westbrook stuff.
No, you should pull the 20-second timeout.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
defending myself.
No, I don't think you. I'm not even.
I'm wearing an
attacking.
oversized Harlem Globetrotters jersey for Geese Osby for crying out loud.
I love what you bring.
Okay,
every day.
good.
I've noticed eye contact with staff members where they go, I don't know what he's doing either. Okay,
good or bad?
It's not bad. Let's start there. It's not bad. It's just I don't know.
I know that is. I'm just trying to fine-tune. I'm trying to fine-tune my delivery when I'm on here. I want to make sure I'm not wasting the viewer's time.
No, you're good at. But I'm just when you fill in with Kanell, do you drive?
I did. I can't drive
like?
55, but I did drive with. Yeah, that was. You were missed a little bit. I think there were some moments where I'm like, oh boy,
because Kanell started to do this thing where he's feeling himself a little bit more, and I got mad. Last week, right? Yeah, I think it was last week, where he just blatantly was like, yeah, whatever you're doing in your plan, I don't care. I just want to do this thing now. And he didn't tell me.
It was Goat of the Week.
That's right. It was Goat of the Week where he named himself Goat of the Week. And the reason why I didn't want to do it was, one, because he just decided, I've been here a year and a half now. I'm going to just start interjecting and screwing up whatever plan you have, which I'm okay. Like, I get that I'm a little more structured. But then
that's very important here. I'm much better in the Danny chair. Because things can go off the rails when I was in your chair, which they did.
My point with Danny wasn't like I don't want you to do your own thing and feel comfortable. You didn't do anything. Then he just named himself Go to the Week,
and then laughed for 4 minutes.
Then laughed for 4. That was the segment.
Yeah,
that Danny was mad.
Doesn't sound like good radio.
It wasn't. Not sure this is either. Russillo and Kanell on ESPN Radio. So, all right, so. Here's Westbrook, okay? Westbrook just moments ago asked about what he's going to say to Durant, and his eyes are more on Zoolander type stuff.
Is it going to be awkward at all just being on the same team as all the Warriors? I mean, I know you got a big, great series from last year.
Yeah, I mean, what's your favorite fashion brand? What you like?
My favorite, I think I like YSL.
YSL, Saint Laurent. Honestly, Saint Laurent has a great collection. The spring-summer collection.
Yeah.
Oh, you like DVF, you like Don Vashpo? Okay, that's nice. There's a lot of great things I think you can pick from. I think it all depends on what you like.
Okay.
On a side note, I love the fact, and I'm going to go off the rails here, I love the fact that he's into fashion. And if I was a big fashion designer, if I was Dolce & Gabbana, I would make him my guy, fashion shows, and give him everything because I think people gravitate towards him. So from a fashion sense, he's educated about it. I like it. But from a sense of what's going to happen in the All-Star game, I think taking the high road is probably the right route here.
Hey, Russ, we want to ask you another question about Durant.
You and AD are close training together in the offseason. What are your thoughts when you see those kind of rumors that you and him going to LA, that kind of stuff?
You like fashion?
I like fashion.
Yeah. What you wearing? What is that?
Boss.
I like Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss is great, man. Like you should try Hugo Boss. Armani got good suits. Xenia has great brands of suits. Looks good, brother. Yeah.
Like beat writer's going to get a $3,000 Xenia suit. Okay, Russ, I'm on it.
Right, I saved up for this Hugo Boss. This isn't one of those J.A.
Armani
Bank deals.
Yeah. Joseph A. Beckett, they have an Armani collection in the back.
So this is what he's going to do here.
Yeah.
This is what he's going to do.
All right.
Charles Barkley, I don't even know how far we're going to get through the Barkley stuff. He uses this analogy to trash the product today that is a bit unfair. Russillo and Kanell with Max Bretos on ESPN Radio. Presented by Progressive Insurance, creators of the Name Your Price tool. Choose from a range of coverage options and pick the price that works for you. MMA, a pop quiz, and Charles Barkley next this hour. Discover the best new way for you to buy travel. It's called Upside.com. Here's why you'll love it. Every time you buy a trip at Upside, you save a ton of money, and they give you an Amazon gift card worth $100, maybe $200, even $300 every time. Upside bundles your flight and hotel together for one low price. Bundled prices saves you money, especially on business travel. I just did it the other day. I got a $153 gift card to Amazon, something like that. All right. So your company saves money on this. If you're a frequent business traveler, you can get thousands a year. And all you're doing is buying air and hotel together at Upside. Plus, you're still going to keep all your miles. It takes just 3 minutes to see how much you could save by buying your flights and hotel together for one low price. And check out what we've arranged for you. Use the code SPORTS, and you're guaranteed to get at least a $200 Amazon gift card for your first trip. The code SPORTS gets you at least a $200 Amazon gift card free. How can you not do it? It's a no-brainer. Save big on travel and get a big gift card every trip. You'll love Upside.com. Upside.com.
Russillo and Kanell is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests of the show appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
OJ Made in America. It's the most decorated documentary of the year, winning over 45 awards, including the Directors Guild of America, the Producers Guild of America, and 4 Critics' Choice Documentary Awards for Best Documentary Feature. Critics have declared it a triumph, a landmark achievement, the #1 documentary of the year, and now it's an Academy Award nominee. OJ Made in America, available in its entirety on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Max Bretos in studio. We're going to talk to one of the big men in MMA who Max knows a little bit, and we think spars with Jesse Palmer. We're not 100% sure on that one. Look,
That's a great question to
right,
ask.
it's a real question. Can Jesse Palmer beat up a heavyweight in the UFC? That was in the UFC at one point. But Charles Barkley, who, whenever he says it finds a way to always be something like, man, did you hear what Charles said this time? And when he called out LeBron, that backfired, and more people went at Charles than they did LeBron and understood where LeBron was coming from. And LeBron really made it personal when he went back. It took a few days, Barkley kind of joked. He was like, he was on Google, huh? Just letting me have it. When Barkley had questioned whether or not LeBron wanted to compete, had that competitive edge when he was complaining about the roster, right? So we don't need to rehash all of that. But he says this about today's NBA product.
We got an awful product, and I think we got to be careful. We got 2 or 3 good teams. The rest of them are awful, and there's a combination of a couple of things. All these stars are teaming up and want to play together. And also, we bringing kids into the NBA when they're way too young. They don't have any idea how to play. Our product is not good.
Is there a chance he's right? Or is this only yes, he's right because I'm older and I side with Barkley, versus the younger group that go, oh, here we go with Barkley again, just dissing whatever is not future, the present day NBA?
I think the one and done thing, I think we need to look a little closer, because there are some guys here that are just filling up space, not ready for the NBA. I'd love to see them come a little more ready. With regards to the quality, he struck the nerve that we only have 2 good teams, suggesting we will have another NBA Finals between the Warriors and the Cavs. And when the NBA Finals come, it's going to be spectacular. And now the regular season's been diminished a fair bit. But as I host SportsCenter, I get excited for, and maybe it's the millennial culture here where you almost don't pay much attention to the teams, the results, but at the performances. Every night we look at the players that are going to play and go, okay, Isaiah Thomas is playing, James Harden's playing, Russell Westbrook, and you get excited about what these guys are capable of. Is it good team basketball? No. Is it appealing? Absolutely. And I will tune in all regular season long to see that because of what these guys are doing. Would I like to see more competitive teams at the top? Without a doubt. And I hope we can get closer to that, and I think we will. I just think with the cyclical situation with Durant, Durant just changed everything because you took 3 competitive or 4 competitive teams and now made it down to 2. But I'm all right with it.
He also said something about, what do you do right now if you're a Brooklyn fan or you're a Magic fan? Okay, that's not fair. That's like a kid asking, hey, should I go to college? You go, no, my neighbor didn't like it.
There's been bad teams for.
No, but you understand my point?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can't do this thing where you go, well, look at the Magic, look at the Nets. Yes, they're like, what are you telling me? Vancouver Grizzlies were killing it? Like we always have bottom feeder teams. We have bottom feeder teams in every single sport. So that's not an argument for anyone saying the product is bad now. There's just something with the NBA guys. They can never let it go. It is never good enough. Every one of them gets 60 a game now. Basketball apparently is the only sport that has ever regressed athletically. Like wherever everybody's running faster, stronger, and all these different things, somehow the ability to play hoops, we've gotten worse in the last 20, 25 years. I understand the concern about Golden State and Cleveland, but can't you have a window where maybe there's like a college basketball season in the NBA where it feels like there's 8 to 10 wins that could win a title, and that wouldn't be surprising. The NBA doesn't really work that way, but maybe it'd have 5 or 6. Okay, but the NBA it's not just based on the way the important players impact these games. The NBA is never going to be set up in a situation where you're 10 deep. You're just not going to be 10 deep with 10 different teams that look like they can win a title. So this can feel more exclusive right now with Cleveland and Golden State, but that's kind of the way this game is. So then to get really worked up, I want to see Cleveland and Golden State part 3.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yes, there are a lot of other fan bases that are worried about it. And by the way, saying the league needs to do something about these super teams and Durant and all that, they have. It's called the new CBA. If you start going through the fine details of what they're doing there, they are saying if you're one of these premier players, we are going to make it so favorable for you to re-sign with your current team that you're not even going to want to think about leaving. And I think that money, it's so weighted now, the way they used to do it, even more so now, though, where they didn't have movement in the past. And then you're like, the money maybe isn't that much of a difference. I'm making so much more money in sneaker money. So maybe I'll start bouncing. Well, they're going to heavily weight these contracts again and all these other little things, all these other little rules in there. So the NBA is trying to prevent that from happening. So you can get freaked out about it right now. This is not the norm, and I'm not that worried about 2017.
What was your favorite era in NBA? What was the most memorable? What was the time when you were happiest watching NBA?
I just love Barkley. I mean, ironic, Barkley's my favorite NBA player ever. He's my favorite athlete.
His era.
Everybody knows that.
What was going on in his era? It was Celtics-Lakers, the top 2 teams.
They played each other less in the finals than people remember, but it was that was it. It was weird when the Rockets got in 86,
made it with Ralph Sampson. You're like, what happened?
Right.
This is not supposed to be that way. That's how we'll feel if someone other than the Warriors and Cavs. Now, stylistically, and if it doesn't have the same style and they're not calling it the same way, the officials, I can buy into that. I don't know the machinations to that. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. I don't have that trained eye. But the product as it is, I enjoy. But to argue the creme de la creme, it's not exact, but I think to have those dominant teams is good.
The Spurs won 67 games last year, and because they didn't get past Oklahoma City, we act like
but they're not. Do you feel like they're going to compete this year? I don't know. I don't see it.
They're still really good, okay? But what do we have here? We have this 2-year thing of the NBA Finals, this being the same matchup. So now we're worried we're going to get it a third time, okay? We're worried, there's not enough. Look, man, there's plenty of NFL games. And I'm like, cool, it's parity, it's touchdown, it's Tennessee against Jacksonville. Like, I don't care. Sweet 4 o'clock window. What do we got? Jacksonville at Oakland? Like 2 years ago. Oakland's good now, but
yeah, Jacksonville doesn't go 4 o'clock windows.
You don't understand what I'm saying here. Look,
the parity's an issue with the NFL. I like the dominance of teams.
Right. So when we don't have dominant teams, we say we miss the dominant teams, and then when we don't have, we have the dominant teams. It's like, where's all that parity? Just fix everything, right?
Yeah, just
the Hall of Fame
voting.
T.O. so upset about the Hall of It. We need that to be more transparent now. I don't know. Receivers have to wait. I don't know why it is. You're a Hall of Famer. You'll get in. We don't have to have a congressional hearing about it. And you were a jerk to your teammates, so now you're getting kicked around a little bit for a couple. Like all of these things that we're worrying about, there's a lot that we don't need to worry about. And right now, Golden State and Cleveland maybe meeting a third time does not mean the NBA product is garbage and it needs to be completely overhauled.
No. Do you see any team preventing a third straight? I mean, because it seems more crystal clear now than it did last year, even though we had the Thunder and you had the Spurs potentially complicating things.
Golden State, no. Cleveland's defense is terrible. For them,
I just figured LeBron will know when to flip that switch,
and we just
know that's going to happen.
I won't be picking against them, but Washington I'm taking a little bit more seriously. Toronto through this weird start. So they have this weird stretch. They missed DeRozan 7 or 8 games.
This is a discussion for another time, but there's no good benches. I like some of these teams in the East, like Washington, but they don't have a bench. Celtics are kind of good. But no, benches are a dying breed. You don't really have them. Only the bad teams have good benches. You know what would really spice up the NBA? Promotion relegation.
Okay, but
you better pick it at the bottom, or you're going to go down.
So you tank, and then it's like, by the way, now you can't even take the draft pick because you're not in our league.
No, you're in the D League.
You're in the G League. Remember? Russillo and Kanell reminding you, if you're at work, you stream all 3 hours of the show on ESPNradio.com. He has left the UFC. He's gone to Bellator. Is he ahead of the curve here in that kind of move? That's next on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Adrienne Lawrence, kicking things off on the diamond. It's not a week into Yankee spring training, and a man's already down. First baseman Tyler Austin will be out 6 weeks with a broken left foot. Austin debuted in pinstripes in August, batting .241 with 5 homers and 12 RBIs in 31 games last season. And the toxicology report for late Royals pitcher Yordano Ventura will not be made public. Authorities in the Dominican Republic will give it to only Ventura's family and attorneys. The toxicology report is key to whether Kansas City must pay what's left on Ventura's $20 million deal. The 25-year-old died in a car accident last month just outside of Santo Domingo, and there's speculation as to whether he was under the influence. Former Cardinal Michael Floyd pled guilty to extreme DUI in Arizona yesterday. Floyd was arrested in December after police found him passed out at the wheel. He's facing a minimum of 45 days in jail if convicted. In Arizona, they had released Floyd just days after the arrest. Then the Patriots picked him up. He received a Super Bowl 51 ring, but he did not play in the game. And after the 6 with Michael and Jamal, stick with them for the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game, 7 Eastern, ESPN.
Time to upgrade your wardrobe with CT Shirts, the most exquisitely crafted British-styled crease-free shirts I've ever worn. One CT shirt normally costs $100. I got you 3 shirts for just $99. Go to ctshirts.com/ESPN. ctshirts.com/ESPN.
Chris Mannix is going to join us this hour, Sports Illustrated NBA writer. A little trade deadline stuff, maybe some more gossip down in New Orleans. Russillo and Kanell with Max Bretos, nice enough to hang out with us for the day on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We don't have him. Okay, his phone dropped. I just needed to know if we were going to end up getting Matt Mitrione, who is going to be fighting Bellator. You're a huge fight guy. You're a huge rugby guy. You like soccer.
Well,
anything else?
You said that with some disdain.
No, I didn't mean disdain. I just don't know how you fit it in. I pay attention to all this other stuff that we actually talk about.
I would like to travel around the world and see those regional sports. You know, the one that they have that horse race in Siena, Italy, where these guys are in horses and
they wear the carriages.
Yeah, well, no, they're on there and they have these colors. So things that are very cultural and distinct to parts of the world, I would like to see. I'd like a good cricket match, one-day cricket.
One day.
What's
the story with cricket when it just goes forever?
You have to get the guys out. The one day you have a limited amount of pitches.
Baseball has problems.
Yeah. Imagine if someone couldn't get the guy out. Yeah.
Brewers cards.
Keep loading up the bases.
This is the same game.
Yeah.
All right, he is joining us now from Bellator this weekend, going up against Fedor, Matt Mitrione on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Pennzoil Synthetics taking a synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Matt, I know that I don't know how close you are. Sometimes famous guys pretend they're really, really close because it's just kind of cool to have other famous friends. But I think I've seen some posts where you train with our friend Jesse Palmer here. But is it true that Palmer beat you up in a sparring session?
It is. Unfortunately, it is incredibly true. That dude's hands aren't just good for throwing footballs and hitting golf clubs. That dude can throw punches as well, my guy.
Really?
No.
He's a legend. That dude is so quick and he's athletic too.
Seriously?
I was going to pick a fight with Jesse, so I got to.
This is.
You see the fancy colors that he wears and the really nice hair, and you think, oh, he's going to be soft. He is the opposite, buddy.
All right. Everybody just got a warning there. So I know, Max, you were really excited to talk about the transfer, right? Or the transition.
Yeah. Well, I know, Matt, you're part of a movement to go to Bellator. leaving UFC. I mean, why did you make that decision? Why was it right for you?
Well, that's a great question, and it was worded very correctly. Why was it correct for me? It was correct for me because I had a problem with the way things changed where I used to be. The fact that there were a lot of things in particular, but financial is primary, right? Like the fact that we had absolutely no say-so in losing our sponsorships. We had absolutely no say-so in losing the financial gain that we had from sponsorships is a massive conversation to have, and we were not allowed to have it whatsoever. Like, for example, say you make $50,000 per fight, right? Well, say you only have 5-6 fights in the UFC, or even 10 fights, or whatever. You get taken down to $5,000 to $10,000, maybe $15,000 per fight now, just for Reebok. So that windfall of money that you had from sponsorships is now evaporated, is now gone, and there wasn't any effort on the UFC's part to compensate for that loss. Like if I can on W-2s, excuse me, if I can show that I had this much money from sponsors, then I should be rewarded for that. Or there should have been some kind of grandfathering clause to say, hey, look, you have to wear Reebok, but you can still go out and get sponsors if you had sponsors before. If you're new coming into the UFC, then you're going to be the new era, which is straight Reebok or strictly Reebok. So that way I can still be allowed to get my money that I was always getting. And one of the main reasons that is so substantial is because most of us did not want to negotiate heavily with the UFC when it came to contracts, because you didn't want to get on their bad side. So you would take, the first, maybe second offer they would give you, and you wouldn't go any harder than that. And the reason was because the fight money wasn't really that important, because the sponsor money was 2, sometimes 3 times as much as your fight money. So you really didn't care about the fight money because you cared more about the sponsor money. And then once they took the sponsor money away, you're left with the peanuts that you didn't fight over, and that's got to be your take-home. That's got to be your windfall. And considering the fact we had absolutely no conversation about it was ridiculous. And then, I also felt for me that I am a personality. I'm a lightning rod for attention. I'm media trained for my NFL, and I have a personality. And I felt that was rewarded when I first came into the UFC, because they wanted that, because they weren't in the idea or the concept of selling. They were in the idea of building their stars and building their brand. Well, then once they got to the point or the concept of selling their brand, well, then the individual personalities that were kind of starting to command money became a liability. And then they wanted to build the brand more, so the brand became more recognizable so they could sell the brand. So then those personalities that they encouraged before almost became punished later on. And then that was a complete paradigm shift, which I was not prepared for and I didn't want to go through. And so luckily for me, instead of having to retire, Bellator came in and said, hey, look, this is what we'll pay you, and this is what we want out of your personality. And I said, that fits perfectly, and that's why I came here.
Wow, what's great?
You've answered this before.
Max,
was
sitting
that
here.
too much of a breakdown, or was that okay?
No.
Thorough, fantastic.
I kept writing down follow-up
Good
to
stuff,
ask
man.
him what specific things, and now I don't have to do that. Matt Mitrione joining us here, Bellator 172, going up against Fedor, heavyweight. Now, just a reminder, ESPN Deportes, ESPN 3, that's 9 Eastern. Does it bother you that some people only know you as the Vine of the guy that had the growth off of his eye?
What's funny about that, man, is that when I got out of the hospital after that, it was about 4 hours after the fight, the first thing I saw on Twitter was a meme in all Arabic. And I was like, there's no English, no other language, it was straight Arabic of my eye. And I was like, you know what, man, it's not the way I wanted to make it, but at least I made it. My face is famous for some reason, but unfortunately I'll take it. So, no, it doesn't bother me, but I do find it kind of funny that if somebody meets me and then Googles me, they come back like, oh, my goodness, I saw your eye. I can't believe it looked like that, blah, blah, blah. So I get a lot of conversations about it still.
Sorry, Matt. That's Ryan asking these questions. I wouldn't have
National audience here, just trying to make sure everybody knows who we're dealing with.
Speaking of a national audience, you mentioned your NFL background. I know that's been a tough transition for guys. I know Brendan Schaub did it, and now he's having great success with his podcast. What advice would you give to guys that are in the NFL or in football that want to make that transition to mixed martial arts?
Well, there's a couple of things that I would say. But first of all, I think before people start making that transition of chasing down the pipe dream that is the NFL, I think the money has to get better, because you can still make, I guess reasonably make roughly the same, maybe a little bit more on practice squad. So that's going to keep people chasing down the pipe dream. So once the money gets better, I think you'll see more transition over. So that's that's how I'm going to preface this comment. The answer to the comment is this, that first and foremost, you have to check your ego at the door. You are going to get your ass kicked You're going to get your ass kicked in front of 5 million people, in front of mom and grandma and everybody in the neighborhood, and everybody's going to watch you get your ass kicked, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen sooner or later. And a lot of people have a really hard time with their ego being able to understand that and conceive it. And especially in the gym, when nobody cares, it's just a place to work, their ego gets the best of them, and they can't even handle it in the gym, let alone on stage with nobody else around. So that's a pretty big thing. Second is patience, man, patience. And that you have to learn that the brute power that is NFL-based only hurts you in fighting. And the massive amount of strength you have only hurts you. It doesn't do you any benefit. So you have to kind of let go of all your preconceived notions of what a very fit athlete is, and you have to let your body paint its own picture when you switch over, if that makes any sense at all.
No, that makes a ton of sense, because that's what kind of drives me nuts. Like, I'm not as into it as Max, but I go to fights. I'll go on my own. I'll get every pay-per-view. So I love it, but I love that I'm not an expert on it by any means, because I can just be a fan and consume it and not worry how I'm talking about it. But what I always say to somebody that knows even less than I do, they'll go, oh, well, the UFC's in trouble now because Ronda lost and Jones and all these things. I'm like, yes, the snapshot of it may be true, but, like, don't come at me with, hey, this person's overrated because they lost in fighting. Like, you guys all lose. You all will lose multiple times. Yeah. And I don't think people get that, and it bothers the hell out of me.
You know, it's funny because you're really viewed as a gladiator, as a Highlander, as almost like an immortal, right, in that cage. And then people can't wait for you to fall. And then once you fall, they're so happy and there's such a letdown or whatever else. But you really do get the sense of, like, a sense of relief. Oh, I don't have to be perfect anymore. Like, I can, it happens, man. Like, things happen. Like, I apologize in my corner when I lose a fight, and they're like, dude, it happens, man. We're gladiators. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. You put on a damn good show and you give it 100% of your heart, and that's what happens. But unfortunately, part of our gig is winning and losing. Fortunately for us, it's also entertaining. So you get out there, you put on your best, you put on your best show, and you show humility when you lose, show humility when you win. And you sell a fight properly, and that's what happens, man.
All right. Hey, Matt, we're up against it here, but we want to talk about Bellator 172, but we can't at this point. But, hey, best of luck against Fedor Saturday night. San Jose, correct?
Yes, sir. San Jose and UFC, or Bellator 172.
I did it, too.
We hit the dump button. Don't worry about it.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on, boys. I really appreciate the effort. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Sorry about that Palmer news, because that bums us out even more. So, like, you're going to tell me the guy's tough now, too?
Maybe Jesse starts going to... And
he's not going to mess up that network GMA face.
No.
Give me a break. Matt Mitrione, Bellator 172, Fedor. Fedor's comment was great because he used to be the man. Emelianenko, when he was asked, now he's 40, they were like, what's the difference between this Fedor and the Fedor 2010 when he was like the man? And he answered back in Russian, quote, the only thing I can say for sure. Actually, I should let you say to this. give me his quote in a Russian accent.
The only thing I can say for sure is I didn't become any younger.
Perfect. Well done.
For those unaware of Fedor Emelianenko, he is the greatest heavyweight in mixed martial arts history. He would go all over the world and beat everybody. He's getting up there in years, but that's what's so exciting for Matt, that he gets to fight that. So it's pretty cool.
Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated, latest trade gossip next, ESPN Radio.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans, designed to keep up with you no matter what you're doing. Wrangler, be comfortable.
We're getting surprise guests left and right from New Orleans. All-star. I have a huge Peter Rosenberg announcement next hour. Celebrity game tonight. Super excited for my guy. I'll admit, jealous. But I think jealous can be a good thing, so I just got to work harder. Just plug along, see what happens. Russillo and Kanell, Max Bretos. We got Chris Mannix, senior writer, Yahoo Sports, part of the Vertical, hanging out with us. What's up? How are you? You down there already?
I'm down in New Orleans, Ryan. It's dreary, rainy, but we're good to go.
That's all right. Gold mine. Just tell him I sent you a little later in the night.
Yeah.
Right? You'll be good to go.
Okay.
Okay. Couple things here. I love the Butler conversation in theory about what could happen. I don't want to dwell on the foul last night.
Oh, boy.
I just don't. I don't. Look, he touched his arm and they called it, whatever. But what would you do as you're close and I watch you doing all the post-game stuff? Like, I know how much Ainge loves all of his Celtics. I know how much Celtics fans love all of their Celtics. If I just said this, I don't even know if Butler's available at least for right now. Maybe it happens this summer. If I said to you that I do Jalen, this pick, whatever it is, NJ Crowder, and figure out the rest of the money, like I would do that for someone as special as Jimmy Butler. I think Celtics fans actually think that's too much. Your thoughts?
I might pull Jalen out of that equation and just see if I can make it work with, Jay Crowder, the pick, and some contract fillers there. I mean, look, Chicago's got some evaluating to do and is doing that evaluating kind of as we speak. I mean, Jimmy Butler's got a great contract and is obviously a great player, but if they're going to try to get huge value back for him, now is the time. What I think it's probably going to come down to, if there's a Boston scenario, is will the Celtics be willing to throw in the potential number 1 overall pick in exchange for Jimmy Butler? Now, I would, because I think Butler is that type of transformative player who fits in exactly with what the Celtics want to do, but I'm not sure Boston's quite all the way there yet.
Chris, when you look, if it's not Jimmy Butler, the Celtics, we've been waiting. They've developed nicely. They've gotten the draft picks. If it's not Jimmy Butler, when would this team be willing to strike to get that player that can put them over the top?
No, they're always willing to strike. I mean, they're as active as any team in basketball. Their assistant GMs are constantly out there pitching deals. The problem is, a lot of the players that people in Boston and elsewhere speculate on are just not available. I mean, Indiana has no motivation right now to deal Paul George. They're going to wait till this summer and see what happens with the extension they're likely to offer him. DeMarcus Cousins, I mean, it seems like he and Sacramento are going to be handcuffed together for all of eternity. And across the league elsewhere, there isn't that impact player that's available. Butler might be that one guy that the Celtics can roll the dice on and go all in. But make no mistake, they're as aggressive as any team out there right now trying to get that deal and that player that can put them in contention with Cleveland this season.
Chris Mannix, Yahoo Sports. Give me a rumor that you're tired of hearing. Look, I know the Melo thing is probably the headliner there, but instead of going, hey, what's the latest you're hearing on this? Because I know I'll hear things, and it sometimes you'll get teams calling to tell you, like, hey, will you idiots stop talking about this? This isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you have one that falls into that category?
It's Cousins. It absolutely is Cousins. I mean, because no matter what happens internally in Sacramento, and I can tell you there are multiple people in that organization that are ready and eager to move DeMarcus Cousins in the right deal for no other reason than just it's time to move on from this dysfunction. It's not going to happen because Vivek Ranadive, the owner, is in love with him. He wants this guy to be his franchise tentpole forever. And look, the Kings last month, when they beat the Cavaliers, I mean, that's when people in Sacramento were telling me that there was no chance that DeMarcus was going to move because, that win right there, while it does really nothing for that team overall, it reinvigorates ownership into thinking that Cousins is the guy for them long term. So that's the one I get tired about because it doesn't matter what you're hearing from different people in the organization. As long as the guy on the top hasn't changed his mind, nothing's going to give.
Chris, what happens at these All-Star games? Because we know the players are the power here. What happens at these All-Star games where they can have these conversations with the fellow All-Stars, with other people to position themselves to possibly be that mouthpiece to get a player to join them in their market, a la Russell Westbrook or Boogie Cousins or whomever wants to get that team to the next level?
Oh, I'm sure there's recruiting going on amongst players as we speak. I mean, Isaiah Thomas is here for Boston, and they're going to be big game hunting once again. This summer, provided they don't make a deal. And you saw last year, I mean, Woj reported last year about how, Draymond Green and others were, basically actively recruiting Kevin Durant for all of last season. Now, nobody's going to cop to it now and say that they're doing it, but I have no doubt that inside those locker rooms, at the parties all weekend long, that on some level those conversations are happening.
What do you think happens with Westbrook and Durant during the lineups for the West?
It's the reason to be here, Ryan, to be honest with you. I mean, I couldn't give a damn about the dunk contest or the rookie game or everything else, but, watching these two interact and seeing what Steve Kerr does with this lineup is going to be fascinating. Now, I just left the media availability. Kevin Durant wasn't interested in talking about Westbrook. and Westbrook turned every question about Durant into Fashion Week and things like that. So it's all the drama surrounding these guys is all anybody's going to be talking about. And I hope Steve Kerr at some point puts them out there together, the four Warriors and Russell Westbrook, so we can all get what we want.
That's awesome. Enjoy the weekend. That's Chris Mannix, Yahoo Sports. Coming up next, we have Dominique Wilkins, a Hall of Famer, and more from a former insider. That's exciting.
I'm Andy Katz from ESPN, along with my co-host Rick Klein of ABC News. On the latest edition of Capital Games, we're going to be joined by North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper to discuss HB2. We're also going to dissect the new Nike ad called Equality.
Scott Burnside, ESPN.com here on the latest edition of Hockey Today, the podcast. We catch up with breaking news in Montreal with a coaching change there, and hear from Pat Maroon of the Edmonton Oilers and Jason Chimera of the New York Islanders.
The NBA All-Star Game this Sunday.
Here's Curry behind the back, half-court heave on its way, and he hits it!
Coverage begins Sunday at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.